Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for the Altenew October 2023 release video hop. I'm Candy Thomas. I really appreciate you joining me. Here is one of the beautiful cards that I made with this release. It's such a beautiful release. The stencils, the dies, the hot foil plates, the stamps. I mean, these can be used together or you can use them separately. Here is the Altenew Joy Die Set that I'm going to use on this card. First, I'm going to die cut the card, and I'm die cutting it with the J slightly overlapping the top part. I'm not putting it in all the way in my die cutting machine because I want the joy to be at the very top with the card to flop over. These stencils here, first I'm going to use the main outline stencil where I color it in, and I'm actually coloring it inside of the card so it's not a separate panel. But first, to do that, I take out the joy and then I'm going to trace with a pencil so that way I know exactly where to color it. My stencil down, I'm going to use the Altenew White Cloud Pigment ink. I'm taping down the stencil so it won't move, and I really love this pigment ink, and I'm going to go over it almost in like a circular motion to dab it, and I go over it several times in order to make sure it gets really white. And then when I get ready to take off my stencil, I clean off my one stencil so that way that ink won't get in other parts of my card. And then I'm going to go and color in the O. What I love about these stencils is that you're able to make this beautiful diagonal joy, and it helps you to color it in where it's the focal point. And you can see I got a little bit of the ink there, but don't worry, we'll get it off later. So you will want to sit and dry this off because it will be very wet. I use my heat tool to be able to do that, to dry it faster. Now I'm going in with a lined stencil and I'm adding Versamark ink. You can see it slightly, and then I'm going to add a red glitter embossing powder. I love the shine. Go in and remove any excess and then heat set it, and then you have the joy. So I can see the joy from the front of the card even though it's on the inside. Now I'm cutting a slant off of the bottom of the card because I want to be able to add a white piece of cardstock and a sentiment there. And on the front it's going to be an acetate piece that I'm putting there in order to see through. It's a little hard to tell that I'm putting the acetate there, but you'll be able to see it once I put the sentiment and the white cardstock. So I'm going to glue that down. I have to be really careful. I also had to die cut the acetate with the same Joy die so that way I would be able to have it exactly where I needed it on the card. And then I'm just going to go in and trim the excess. So now I'm creating that panel to put on the inside of my card. I'm going to gently fold it over, and I'm also going to use double-sided tape from Altenew to put some of that down. That way it will already have the tape on it. And I have my corner piece right there that I've cut. And to kind of hide some of the oddness with the card, I cut a strip of gold glitter cardstock, and you can see it right there at the very top left where I put that. And now I'm going in and adding my sentiment on that little triangle piece. I'm using Altenew Heartbeat ink, and I'm going over it just a few times to get it good and dark. And then I close it. And this is how it looks. I'm going to add just a few sequins to give it a little bit of a pop. And for that ink down at the bottom that you saw earlier, I kind of used a sand eraser to get some of that pigment ink off. I waited until it dried. Now in order to cover up that part of the back from the inside of the card where I use the acetate, I'm going to do the Altenew Trellis stencil, and I'm also doing it in the Heartbeat ink from Altenew. And then I'm going to add that. I've got to die cut the joy out of it too. I'm going to go over and trace it with my pencil so I make sure I get it in the exact spot I need it. And then I'm going to die cut that and then adhere it to the back of that panel. This also makes the card stock for the card base a little sturdier by doing that. And here we have the finished product for this card. I really enjoyed using these stencils. It was so great to be able to put different colors in. Here you're going to see all the different products I was able to use to create these different cards from this Altenew set. And I had a lot of fun creating it, from the ice skates to the hot foil plates, the ornaments. And next we're going to be making this cute shaker card that I use with a gold foil plate along with the coordinating die. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to die cut my ornament, my star ornament. And here I'm going to just take off any little excess that I have from the front, because I'm going to use this as my panel. And the ornament that I die cut is actually going to be inlaid. So I'm going to trace where I want the ornament to go so I can lay it perfectly there. And that way I'll have it to be able to go exactly where I want it with my panel too. I'm going to go ahead and place it there. I use a shimmer prism glitter, not really glitter, it's more of like a prism foil that I use, and I use the brand new Altenew ornament hot foil plate set that says peace. I love this set. This is beautiful in gold, in any color of foil that you have, and then I love that it came with the coordinating dies to cut those out. So what I did, I put a little piece of acetate on top of the star, so that way whenever I put in my shaker elements, my sequins, it won't stick to the star and get hung up underneath it. So the acetate will keep it smooth. That way you can still see the star just as if you would, but then all the little sequins won't get stuck up underneath the edges of the star where I adhered it. And I'm going over the acetate with an anti-static powder, and that will keep them from moving, that will help it to move a little better. And now I'm using an Altenew ink, Volcanic Lake ink, to stamp this sentiment to go on the front of the card base. I really liked how the pink and the turquoisey look came together for this Christmas card. It's a little unconventional with the colors, but I loved how it turned out. Now I'm going through, and on the back of that panel, the white panel where you saw me stamp, I am adding foam tape around the star so that way it will raise and have dimension, so that way my shaker elements will be able to move about. I'm also adding double-sided tape so I can put a piece of acetate on the back of that white panel. Therefore, it will keep it from the shaker element pieces coming out from the front. So you see me kind of lining it up, trying to get it exactly where I need to go to make sure I had my acetate on correctly on both sides. And then I'm going and adding more of the foam tape. I'm adding also my sequins. You can see me putting it on top of the star. It's a lot easier to put it that way. That way I can kind of guide my panel when I get ready to place it down. And I'm adding quite a few of those, and this is how the card turned out. Added a few extra little sequins to go. And here's another card that I created using that same hot foil die set. It's the prism foil that I use, but I love this Altenew hot foil plate set. And that Joy stamp came from the Joy Greetings stamp set. I really loved it. And here are all the products right there. And that Joyful Greetings stamp set also has a coordinating die if you wanted it. And there's the ice skate. I love the ice skate. I die cut that out of white pearl glitter cardstock. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a lovely day. Don't forget to sign up, leave a comment for a chance to win for all of the prizes. Have a wonderful day.